Hey, my friends, thank you for showing back up today. This is Tony Woodall, the founder of Motivated Action Group and the creator of Goal Getting, Don't Just Set 'em, Get 'em. One of the biggest questions that I am always asked is, how do I set goals? It seems very daunting to a lot of people. Well, as the creator of Goal Getting, Don't Just Set 'em, Get 'em, I have a program and a system that will show you how to do that. And today we're going to talk about that particular program. So with this program, as I said, people often ask me, how do I set goals? And what are goals? That's the thing that you have to think about. What are the goals that you have? So there are many people who have goals to have their dream home. They want to purchase and maybe even build their own dream home. Many people just want to have a big backyard for their family and friends and children to play in. That's a nice dream that people also have. Many people also just dream of having a family. They want to get married, they want to have children. That is a big dream for many people. Many people, like myself, dream of travel, world travel. Maybe your goal is to write a book. You've been thinking of this idea, whether it be fiction or nonfiction. You have this dream to write a book. Well, I've actually had that dream myself, and I did write my book and publish that book, 9 Steps to Successful Goal Achievement, which we're going to talk about that today. Maybe this is your goal. Your dream is to lose weight. This is me. When I was 30 years old, I had hit 300 pounds, and I kept that weight very close to it, up and down. I was going back and forth, the yo-yo diet. And many people, I used to call myself Duncan because, it's like a Duncan yo-yo. You may be too young to understand what Duncan yo-yos are, but it was a yo-yo going up and down with my weight, but I never got below 200 pounds. I was always fluctuating and mostly the high up to close to 300 pounds, 250 to 300. It was terrible. And I knew I had to get healthy. I needed to be a new me. So I made a decision. I wanted to lose weight. So I became the person that I wanted to be, the thin person I wanted to be in 2018. And I got down to my goal weight of 185 pounds. That was always a dream of mine, to be thin and in great shape. So now at 62, I am in better shape than I was at 30. So I'm excited about that. And the only way that you can achieve those dreams that you may have is to set goals. Goals are very important. You've got to have a plan, a program, something that will allow you to follow up on your actions that you do. And we'll talk all about this in just a moment as we go through here. I did write 9 steps to successful goal achievement, and that's what we're going to talk about today very quickly, is those 9 steps. We can go into a lot of information about that, and we will in other episodes here. But what I want to talk about today is just the 9 steps and go into those a little bit briefly so that you understand what is required to have a successful goal achievement and those steps that must be taken. Now, when I say steps, they don't have to be specifically in a step one at a time. They're kind of all encompassing, and you can do different pieces of them, but I call it 9 steps. These are critical pieces for setting goals effectively so that you can achieve those successfully. Now, let's start talking about those 9 steps to successful goal achievement. The first step is write it down. Napoleon Hill, who you may have heard of, wrote Think and Grow Rich in 1938. And when he wrote that book, he interviewed all of the successful people at that time. And one of the common denominators he found from everybody that he interviewed that was extremely successful was they all had clearly defined written goals. And that is an important thing. You want to make sure that you write your goals down, not just think about them. You want to write them down. Dr. Gail Matthews at the Dominican University in San Rafael, California, had heard the same story that I did, that back in the 1950s, Yale University did a study about people who wrote their goals down and how that the people who were more successful from doing that had written their goals down. those that didn't were not as successful. What we found out in the early 2000s was that that story actually never existed. It was actually probably one of the first items of fake news out there, years ago, but that never really existed. So she, being a psychology professor at Dominican University, decided to actually do a study to see if this worked. Dr. Matthews, in her studies, found out that you have a 42% greater chance of achieving your goal if you write it down. So she did her study, and in the study, we can talk more about that in depth, and you can find her on the internet. You can do a search for Dr. Gail Matthews and goals, and you'll see her study. But she has found that, according to her research, that the positive effect of written goals was supported, and that those that wrote their goals accomplished significantly more than those who did not write their goals. So that is a big key. Now, the other part that Napoleon Hill talked about was clearly defined. So you want to be specific when you're writing your goals, not just I'm going to lose weight, I want to be rich, I want to do this. You want to make sure you're very specific. Again, clearly defined written goals. So I like to say be specific. Specific is terrific. And everybody loves a good story. Storytelling has been with us for years. So instead of saying something like, I will weigh 185 pounds on December 31st, which is a goal, but it's not specific. When I started my weight loss program, I wrote, when I wake up on December 31st and go into my bathroom, I'm going to step on my scale and I'm going to see 185 on the scale, and I'm going to jump up and I'm going to pump my fist and I'm going to give a shout, woohoo, happy new you, happy new year. And that is very important. Now, you want to be very specific and follow some of the other programs that we have within our 9 steps, but this is talking about being specific, and we'll get into the other things that are in this particular goal that I set that are important. The second step is be realistic. Now, that doesn't mean you don't want to have moonshot goals and dreams. You got these dreams, you got these ideas, you want to be realistic. Now, when I talk about being realistic, it doesn't mean like winning the lottery is not a goal. That's a game of chance. But doing something that is totally out of your ability. For me to set a goal to play Wimbledon next year in tennis, that's completely unrealistic. I'm not in good enough shape, and I don't think I could get into that good enough shape in that time. And you see that most of the tennis players, they retire, from that game much earlier than I am even old. So it is not realistic for me to make that particular goal. But the key is also sometimes we set too many goals, and that can make us unrealistic as well, trying to get everything done too soon or try to do too much. So being realistic does not mean you don't want to have big, hairy, audacious goals. You want to really have goals that are outside of your comfort zone. You want to have goals that make you work for, but you still have to be realistic. Do not set yourself up for failure. Step number 3 is set a deadline. You have to have a time frame that goal be completed. A goal is a dream with a deadline. If you don't have a deadline, it's just a dream. And without a deadline, there's no pressure for you mentally and or physically for you to accomplish that. So you want to have a deadline. In my goal to lose weight, I specified December 31st to be the deadline. I started in January. I wanted to complete that by December 31st. I knew it was a whole year to give myself the opportunity to do that. And based on my experience of trying to lose weight before, I knew it would possibly take that long. The 4th goal is to set an action plan. You really want to have an action plan as you're going out here. And what that means is you have to know what you want to do. So you want to create a plan, and you need to work the plan. How do you go about achieving these goals? Now, if you've got this big, hairy, audacious goal, this moonshot goal, you may not even know what to do necessarily, but there are specific events that you must do. You have to get started. So what action or events must take place before you can achieve your goal? Again, a goal without action is just a wish. So you have to take that step and go out there and create a plan, create an action step, write down specific items that you can track and measure. That's option number 5. You want to be able to measure and track what you're doing every day. You need to see that you have accomplished a part of that task or an item that moves you forward within your goals. I call those value events. So everything that provides value that moves me forward into my goal, then that is what I want to track. You're not trying to track or measure the success or the achievement of that goal. You want to measure and track and have action steps based on what you're trying to do. What are the steps or actions that I have to take to accomplish my goal? So goals should be measurable. More importantly, they must be measured and tracked. The ability to track the status of your action plan gives you the confidence that you're actually moving forward. And Tom Peters wrote a book years ago, and had this great quote, "What gets measured gets done." Phenomenal author. Check out his books he's got out there. The sixth step, and this is a key step, is define your why. What guides you? What's your compass in wanting to achieve this goal? You have to understand that. And it's important to define your why. Why do you want to achieve this goal? Gloria Hyatt talks about people that lose their why lose their way. And from somebody who does this and talks this all the time, I had goals and I had dreams, and my life had some lifestyle changes and life changes. And, in that, I kind of lost my why. I didn't have the same why. And it kind of threw me for a loop. And I kind of lost my way there for a while. But now I have a new why. I have a new reason for accomplishing the goals that I have today that I've set. So that can happen. So you want to understand your why. It's that motivation to keep you moving when things get tough, when you're not thinking about trying to do what you need to do to go forward. If you start procrastinating, things like that, you really need to think about, why do I want to achieve this goal? The seventh step that I want you to think about is very important. All of them are important, but this was a really good one here. Visualize it. What do you see in your world in the future? What's your world going to be like? What do you want you to be like once you achieve this goal? What do you see yourself doing as you accomplish this goal? Visualize it. Now, we're visual people. All social media today uses video or images. That's why it's out there. It's because the mind that we have is very visual. Storytelling is also an important learning experience, and remembering images help to tell a story. And then my favorite story about visualization is about Michael Phelps. His coach, when he started at 11 years old, coaching Michael, the coach was not 11, but Michael was 11. The coach started teaching Michael about visualization. He would have Michael start visualizing himself swimming the fastest in the pool and going about things the right way and imagining it in his mind and visualizing it, and as he liked to call, playing the video. So every time Michael got up to compete in an event, Michael would always play that video. And if you watched him doing his swimming meets, you can see that he's continually focused on something, and that's playing that video of him winning at the fastest speed, breaking records. He visualized that going forward in all of his events. Dr. Matthew Walker, professor of neuroscience and psychology at UC Berkeley, is the founder and director of the Center for Human Sleep Science. If you listen to podcasts, you can listen to Go Getting Podcasts, which is mine, but Joe Rogan Experience, his podcast, episode 1109, Matthew Walker talks about how important visualization is. And visualization is 50% as effective as physically performing the skills. 50% as effective at changing the plastic connections in the brain, the neuroplasticity. And visualization or passive play can cause a rewiring of the brain beneficially. I was just recently on a podcast, Total Brain, with Dr. Evian Gordon, and he explained a little bit more about this. You should go listen to his podcast. He's an excellent brain scientist. But visualization is key for that. And I like to do little exercises. I had a goal one time of owning a BMW Z4. And, part of that is I went to the BMW Performance Center in Spartanburg, South Carolina at the time, and got to ride the cars around the track. And that, I put myself in my goal. I put myself in my dream. So if you get a chance to do something like that, put yourself in it. And a few years ago, I bought Gina, who is Goal Imagined Now Achieved. I bought my Z4. The eighth step in 9 steps to successful goal achievement is make a commitment. You have to make a commitment with yourself, a promise that you have that you're going to do what you need to do to achieve your goal. You must write a contract with yourself. I have my clients fill out a personal contract with themselves so that they can make that commitment. It's like a promissory note on a mortgage or a loan or anything that you're doing. You are committing to yourself as an honest person that you're going to do that. So you write it out. I, so-and-so, agree to perform the tasks necessary to accomplish my goal. My goal is, and I promise to complete my goal on. Again, we're getting a deadline with specificity, and then you signed the commitment with your signature. Again, sign your signature so that you have committed to that particular goal. To hold yourself accountable, get an accountability partner, somebody you can tell your goals to that will help you achieve that goal. You might also join a mastermind group. I've been in several and have a couple that I'm in now that help me concentrate and go through my tasks that I need to do to accomplish that goal. And also a coach. I've got a great coach who has helped me on several projects that I've done. And it's very important to have somebody. Most of your professional sports players and most of your golfers have particular coaches for even the different areas. Tiger Woods has coaches for his putting game, his short game, and his long game. So, you've got to have these coaches out there regardless of who you are. So this is important. Find a good coach. And 9 is reward yourself. Celebration is cool. Celebration is good. Achieving goals often requires creating new habits. And if you're familiar with The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg, there's habits talk about 3 steps. There's what we call a habit loop, and there's a cue that triggers you to do something, a routine that you follow, and it's all based on the reward that you expect to get. Whether it's a good habit or a bad habit, we are all looking for that reward at the end. So rewards are important. What gets measured gets done. What gets measured and fed back gets done well. What gets rewarded gets repeated over and over again. Johnny Jones said that, and that is important. You want to reward yourself. Give yourself rewards frequently throughout your process for tasks that you're doing and achieving on your way to your goal, not just at the achievement of your goal. You want to reward yourself throughout the process. So these are my 9 steps to successful goal achievement. Write it down, be realistic, set a deadline, set an action plan, make sure you measure and track those action steps, define your why. Why do you want that goal? What's your motivation? Visualize it. Take that visualization, give yourself that feeling. My steps that I did and my goal that I set, that I visualized of losing weight, it had that visualization in there. I imagined seeing 185 pounds on the scale. And then I also rewarded myself with the woohoo and the jumping up and down. And my reward for that was a Hickey Freeman suit that I was going to buy at the time. And that when I achieved my goal, so that is a big reward for me. But whatever your reward is, give yourself those rewards. Now, next time, I'm going to be talking about the 3 pillars of goal-getting success. When we set our goals, the 9 steps are important. Sometimes we need a program, a system to help us follow those 9 steps. And that's what we're talking about with the 3 pillars of goal-getting success. You want to think about the whole process, and it is a process, a continual process. You want to think about that process as these 9 steps are the foundation of this temple of your body and your mind. So you've got the 9 steps, and then you've got the 3 pillars of that will eventually hold up the roof of that goal achievement. So you have the 3 pillars we'll be talking about in another video. So please come back and listen to that. That's the what, the how, and the why. And goal getting. I had a friend of mine, she was helping me one day move into a new place, and we were talking about my book, and I had just published it and had a box full of the new books. And she goes, oh, 9 steps is too many. You really have only 1 step that is important of that. And I said, well, there's 9 steps that are important. But she says, yes, but action is the most important step. So, I didn't want to have to change the title of my book to 10 steps, and I didn't want to add a new step because, I set an action plan. So the implication is that you're going to take action. But So I decided to add step 0. Step 0 is take those steps. Take the first step. That, not just the 9 steps, but everything that you have to do is action. It is taking the steps that you need to take to achieve your goals. So, like the young man here, take that first step. Begin and enjoy your achievement of your goal. If you need to speak with me or want to get in touch with me, I do coaching on goal setting. I also coach corporate executives and businesses, sales teams. So you can find me on many different areas: Instagram, motivatedactiongroup.com. And again, I do coaching, personal and or corporate consulting. So thank you so much. Look forward to talking with you. Next one, catch our next video, and we'll see you soon. So thank you so much. Look forward to talking with you. Next one, catch our next video, and we'll see you soon.